All right, we're live.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
So,
welcome to Porch Talks
with the
Thunder Sisters. I'm Rena.
And this is Rochelle.
And hey, we're on the porch, so I guess we got something to talk about.
That's right. Always something to talk about.
We want to remind you, we might as well, since no one's jumped on here, we might as well remind, right? That we want to hear from you. So if you want to talk to us, we want to hear from you. So message us. We have an email address, and you can email us there at porchtalks0612@gmail.com. Yep. And we have a GoFundMe.
Yep, we do. We have a GoFundMe, and that is for the consolidation paperwork. We are still trying to get, I think the last we had raised some money, but it's not enough to cover it. So we are still needing people to jump on board and give to that fund.
Yep. And we have a YouTube page.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you want to know more about the consolidation paperwork, go on our YouTube page.
Yeah.
And we have a whole video over there.
Yeah. And we'd love for you to like and subscribe to our YouTube page, because we need you guys over there. Because we've got to have 50 followers.
Yeah. We have to have 50 followers, subscribers,
so
that we can go live over there, because in 30 days, Facebook deletes our lives. So that's why we ended up making the YouTube page, to store all of our videos over there. So ultimately, we want to get over there.
Yep. So that is our spiel for right now. On Porch Talks today, we're going to be going over Miss Judy Lynn's letter. It is public knowledge on Facebook, floating around. If you haven't read it, we're going to read it for you, so you will know what is in the letter. And then we're going to go over that letter.
And there's a lot to cover in this letter. A lot to cover.
Yep.
So, as we said on our last Porch Talks, get ready. Go, give you a little time to go get your snacks. Go get your drinks. I got mine right here. Rena's got hers right here. And we got our drinks, and we just ate, so we're good. But if you need to go get snacks so you guys can settle in, go do it now.
Yep. So it's important to note that things revealed in this letter that Rochelle's going to read is actually an open secret that many teachers, parents, and community members know about. We've actually heard of several types of people. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, because I've got points. So anyways,
You've gone off the rails on your points.
I've got off the rails. So anyways, we've got this letter that we're going to go over, because there's a lot involved with this letter.
Yes.
And then 2, you're going to want to stick around to the end, because we've got some stuff, right? So we are going to bring our own findings about Dr. Christensen, including a news article, and an audit report.
Yes. So there's some stuff out there that it's all public knowledge. Again, we just tried to bring facts.
Yep.
It's important to tell you guys that this letter of Judy Lynn's, is the letter that I was referring to in the speech that I gave at the school board meeting, that went over this letter coming out, and then them closing or calling a closed meeting. And then they basically, that is where they told their staff to sit down and shut up, talk to no one outside of the district about the district. That is where that happened. Now, from what we understand, not everybody was in that meeting. Not every district or like every building was in that meeting. So, just so we're clear, not all the staff heard that.
Was told that.
So I want to make sure
Clarify.
you guys know that, because we have heard from others that were in other buildings that they did not hear that. So, but this is the letter. And so I say that because I want you to realize the importance that this letter must have had.
Yeah.
Because they were willing to do a closed meeting about it and tell their staff to sit down and shut up, basically, in polished tones.
Yeah, and not basically like this must have exposed
Too much. Yeah, and specifically, they felt like it came from the inside. So, there was that.
So, with that being said,
Shall I start reading?
No.
No.
With that being said, we want to tell the public, our viewers, that the reason why we decided, or we started doing this, right?
Yeah, the reason why we started doing Porch Talks.
You know, this wasn't something that we wanted to get into or spend our whole summer doing.
For sure not.
I mean, we're busy people and we've got a lot to do, and sometimes this stuff is really hard and really weighing.
Yeah, and having to research it out and find all the facts and then do like pointers and go over and highlights, and it's a lot of stuff.
It is.
It's not something that we take lightly.
Yes, we want you to know that. We laugh about things and we joke about things, but you know, ultimately, this is it weighs. It's a heavy weight.
It's a heavy weight also because we don't want to seem to be gossipy.
Yeah, or slanderous or anything like that.
Yeah, we're not trying to do any of that. We're just trying to bring you guys the facts and bring things into the light.
With our opinion.
And bring things into the light. That's what we've been called to do.
Yeah. And then information that we've received or we've got, you know, that's all by the grace of God. We're going to contribute it 100% to Him and how He operates and the things that He
God
shows
has sent us people. God has sent us
links.
God has sent us so much throughout this. We know that it can't be anything but God.
Yeah.
But God, right?
So we want to say part of the reason we are in this place of exposing is because those who had the jurisdiction to take care of the things, right, have been protecting the predators rather than protecting the sheep. Now God is saying no more. We're going to take what is done in secret and expose it. And we are all in, and we're going to do that. And we're all in to do that. In the fear and trembling of the Lord. Because we take it very seriously.
Yes.
And so we're going to do that with His strength. And with His mercy. And so if there's anything to expose, I guess, let's do it.
And something that Miss Irma had said to us.
Yeah. So if there are things that legitimately need to be exposed, we're going to do that. And if it's under the blood of Jesus and repented for and forgiven, God doesn't remember it.
Yep.
So He's not going to be exposing it.
So He's not going to be telling us or bringing it to us to expose it if it was already covered.
So God is exposing current predators. And God gives us a timeline to repent. If we don't, then He's exposing it for our own good, so that we can repent of it, so that we can seek his counsel on it, so that we can be in a right standing with the Lord, because that's what's important. And so with that, we're praying for everybody.
Yes. And then Miss Irma had sent this to me, and I just thought this was so fitting. And it was about something completely different, but it just fit into this. Our sin is being exposed in God's mercy. It gives us the opportunity to truly repent and turn from our sin. His grace is for our forgiveness, but his grace also empowers us to live rightly. Sin thrives in darkness, but dies in the light. If it's true that the secrets were kept, then anybody that knows these secrets, or any staff that knows these secrets, is guilty by omission, or also doing him no favors.
By keeping the lies and the secrets.
By
and
keeping,
whatever.
yes.
Yeah.
You're not doing anybody a favor by not calling them into repentance. You're not. I mean,
yeah.
You're just giving Satan more ammunition.
Right. And we're not above anybody else, And so, we take things seriously. We take things weightily. We take things to the Lord.
Again, this is something that Rena had said earlier. If there's something that you guys have to expose about us, we want you to. Because we want to be repentant of anything that has come in on us. Like, that's something that we feel strongly about, and we don't want anything hanging over our heads. We want to be in submission of God.
And ultimately, if you love the Lord, you're going to repent quickly. You're going to do that. Because you don't want to be...
You don't want to be held. Like,
you don't want to be in disobedience. You don't want to be out of relationship. And
no.
And so, anyway, that's what we have to say about that.
Yep.
So,
we're about exposing darkness.
Exposing the darkness. That's right.
So, again, I told her, hide it under a bushel. No. We're going to let it shine. So, here's this letter.
This is pre-conversation, FYI. You didn't miss anything.
Here's the letter. As a retired school teacher and fellow citizen to the MVBT school district, I feel like I should enlighten the taxpayers of the community on how your tax dollars are being used, paying unnecessary administration salary.
We're starting off strong.
I should have maybe reread this letter before. I have worked at both Mountain View and Birch Tree Elementaries, and also subbed in both school as after retirement. I have no preference to either. I love both places and all the children, but I feel the public should be aware of some things that have been unfolding over the years, not to better the kids, but to gain more and pay more to the administration. Money lining their own pockets is their main focus, not the teachers, staff, or the students. But about how can they cut and cut and cut teachers' supplies, more teachers, but the motive is to increase their personal salaries and get their friends and family members in positions to get rich off taxpayers' money. Keep in mind that teachers' retirement is based on your 3 highest paid salary years. That salary is getting me today. I keep wanting to say salad.
3 highest salad years.
3 highest paid salary years. Where I seen everyone failing to understand and completely blame this on the current superintendent is where I am here to unfold something no one has noticed. In 2015, when the district hired Don Christensen, the former superintendent, who I must add had no interest in our community, people, or the school system, or the best interest in mine, or their best interest in mine. He had been placed on paid leave from a previous position near Springfield, and his interest was finding another high-paying superintendent job because with the odds of his allegations from the previous school, he would have probably never found one. I tried to go fast. Our school board picked him, sadly, without researching or knowing the results of that. His corrupt leadership would ruin a great school district. In his time, he handpicked and groomed the employees, mainly women in the district, that would follow him and treat him as a god and do anything he said. He filled the current and created more administration positions and more unnecessary assistant administration positions in every department for his closest followers, which is corrupt. A big goal for him was to get all the older teachers booted out. However they could. I tried to emphasize that. I thought it was a stop. Okay. The older teachers, I'm struggling.
You got this.
An older teacher booted out however they could, so they could hire unqualified and newly certified teachers at a much cheaper salary, which meant more money for admin and newly certified teachers. No.
Yeah, newly certified teachers. That's what it says.
Well, it said which meant more money for admin. One instance I will never forget is how they bullied a close colleague that I went to church with for years, and she had been in the district for years. I was at the time not working in her building, but she would tell me the horror stories of how they were treating her after our Wednesday night Bible study. They wanted her out, and she planned to retire at the end of the year because their bullying and taunting were taking a toll on her health. They continued and they continued. But what they did not know, and neither did I, and neither did she, was that she had a medical condition, and eventually their bullying led to her deadly heart attack. But it didn't matter that her children were left without a mother. They had her room cleaned out, and she was replaced by Monday morning. I want to make this clear that this is...
We're going to go over the points on this.
Oh.
But you can go ahead and say that.
That I talked about this in my speech as well.
Yeah.
That this was the teacher I was talking about in my speech. Dr. Christensen continued his life and continued with his evil tactics. Another long-term goal of his in his plans was to eliminate Birch Tree Elementary and combine Mountain View and Birch Tree Elementary into one at the same location of the middle school and high school. Dr. Christensen retired, but certainly still works in this district. So he still gets paid retirement, plus another check for teaching from our taxpayer dollars, making two salaries. And yes, the state of Missouri passed a law in order for teachers to do this because of a teacher shortage.
Boy, a lot goes up underneath that teacher shortage.
Mm-hmm. He had all of his people in place before he left, and they still carry on his goals and his plans. If someone chooses to go against the grain and stand up for what they believe is right, of course, they get forced to retire or asked to resign. The current superintendent has allowed Tammy Heine, and I'm reading this is public knowledge, you can find it on Facebook, has allowed Tammy Heine, the middle school principal, to make and call all the shots and do whatever she wanted since. But recently, Angie Gesture has also taken a role in doing the same. She was the principal at Mountain View, but the Birch Tree principal retired. So she also got the Birch Tree principal position as well. So now she is the Mountain View BT elementary principal as well. And this will bring a much larger salary for her because they eliminated a position. But instead of giving Birch Tree their own full-time principal, they hired an assistant principal. Assistants don't get paid as much, so I'm sure the remainder that they are saving from their employing a full-time principal will go into Angie's pocket for her new position. Last night, the board agreed to hire Angie's sister-in-law, Katie Shockley. Katie does not even have her credentials to be a principal, but I'm sure the school will pay for it. Katie's son was also hired as a teacher at Birch Tree last night. He doesn't have his credentials either. As I look back on it, I see how they are slowly taking away from every area, but notice Birch Tree no longer has a full-time art teacher, music, library, or nurse. When I sub there, the secretary does the nurse's job. This always makes me feel uneasy. The nurse is Dr. Christensen's wife, but she is rarely ever there. They have booted teachers everywhere, not just Birch Tree, but still find the funds to add more admin and more assistants where they want and increase their salaries. Don't our kids deserve better than this? Although it began with Dr. Christensen's corruptions, these ladies have followed in his footsteps. They have done evil things to get in the position and create and take positions from innocent, dedicated, loving teachers. They have taken from your children our tax dollars and are paying their large salaries, and it still continues to happen and is swept under the rug. The board goes along with it, and the public stays quiet. Is this really what our community has come to? They will continue on like this, practicing what they have taught, what they were taught by their leader, with the plan, and all they know, all these great teachers will be rooted out, and they will add on to current tax levies or get a grant to build the consolidated elementary school. And no, at that point, no one will have a vote or a say. I recently learned that they now combine elementary music concerts, and they are held at the middle school. Field day will be combined this year at the football field, and any other after school or extracurricular will be combined. If Mountain View doesn't participate in something that Birch Tree normally would, it won't be allowed. The kids will be missing out on so many opportunities. If we do not speak up, it will be too late. These are your children and your tax dollars. And I highly encourage the community to wake up and stand up and to do it quickly, because the corruption has been going on for 10 years now, and we are all allowing it. Bam. Mic drop.
So that was Miss Judy Lynn's letter. And it is public knowledge, and it is on Facebook.
And you can read it yourself, where maybe you won't butcher it like I did. Because I was having some problems with my salaries.
Yeah, so these are the thoughts and opinions of Miss Judy Lynn, and not our own. And so she read the letter how it read.
Yeah,
so,
word for word, that's how it read.
Except for maybe the salad.
Yeah, no. Salary, salad, I mean, they go hand in hand.
Okay, so we're just going to go over some points about Miss Judy Lynn's letter. Just kind of point by point through the letter. A lot of this we've talked about, but we're going to go ahead and go over it again. And then we'll read the audit report.
Get into the heavy.
And the news
Into
article.
the nitty gritty.
Yeah. So, one of the points she made was that admin getting raises while teachers and staff not getting raises, and cutting teacher supplies and cutting teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So, I thought that was an interesting point that she made. So, you have anything to say on it?
I think that, if that's happening, y'all, we really need to be watching. We really need to be looking. We really need to be looking into some things. I think for too long that we've just thought that people will do the right thing. And you just kind of go in with a blind faith. Mm-hmm. And we find out that that's not the case.
Because you want to believe the best in people.
We do want to believe the best in people.
Mm-hmm. And you want to believe like people that you've put, or that are hired into significant roles, right? Like admin roles, are going to have the best interest of the children, the people, right? Even like elected votes, elected positions and things.
Well, and like somebody else said, most of these people we grew up with. Mm-hmm. So, some of them not, but most of them we grew up with.
Or we know of them.
Or we know of
whatever.
them, or, like went to school at the same time that they were in school, or, you definitely, diving into this, you feel like you don't want to say too much, but you want to remain true to the facts. And diving into this also, makes you really want other people to start looking into it as well. Mm-hmm. Not just your eyes, but for you guys to actually look into this stuff and see it for yourselves. Mm-hmm. Because we're not just saying it. Mm-hmm. Like, you guys, if you did your own research, your eyes would start pinging and be like, whoa, what's that? Because that's what you do. Like, when you're deep diving into something and then you're like, whoa, there's a discrepancy here. This isn't right. And then I've got to dig further. Mm-hmm. I've got to know more what's going on. Mm-hmm. And God kind of does that. He nudges you further and further and further to try to find these things. Mm-hmm. So.
Yep.
Otherwise, I would just forget it.
Well, it's that way when you're doing Bible study and stuff. So
yeah.
One piece leads to another piece.
Well, I'm just saying, because I'm telling you, sometimes I'm like a squirrel. I go, whoop, and it's just gone. And That's the true story. And so,
laying it all out on the table today.
If God wasn't nudging me, I wouldn't be doing it.
Yep.
That's 100% true.
So we hope they're not cutting teachers' supplies. And we know teachers have been cut. So, I mean, we know that has happened. So,
yes, we've heard that has happened for sure.
We've heard that has happened, yes.
Yep, we've heard that that's happened.
So, the next point she made was about the nepotism, which we went over 2 videos ago. Some about the nepotism. There is a lot of connections.
Yeah, because she says that they are handpicking and getting family members in there to get rich off of your tax dollars. That's her words.
Yeah, that's not our words.
I'm just pointing it out.
But,
just the messenger here.
But, you know, like, when we go over this audit report a little later, you'll kind of connect the dots and understand why, man, hiring family members is a very scary position to be in. Because you have got to be above reproach to be able to do that. And like we said in our nepotism video, I mean, how do you, well, actually, somebody brought this up in the comments, but how do you evaluate as an administrator, right? How do you fairly evaluate a nephew, a niece, a sister-in-law, a daughter, a son? I mean, like, how do you fairly evaluate them? And then knowing you have
more than one.
Well, and then knowing
that has to evaluate that, or that can't evaluate.
Right. Well, then also knowing that, you know, you have staff, teachers that are board members' sons and daughters and cousins and nieces and nephews, and, you know, how do you fairly evaluate that? I mean, so those are some concerning questions that...
And how do you fairly go, and if you have a complaint?
Yeah, or if you have an issue, yeah, how do you fairly go to your board or your administration with that, you know, knowing that they're related to that person? I mean, I know there's nepotism in everywhere, and I know that, you know, you want your family members whom you can trust or whatever.
Well, I mean, some of these kids grow up in their parents' footsteps, following in their parents' footsteps. They see it and they want to go. And, you know, my mom's a teacher. I want to be a teacher. Yeah. And that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be a teacher. Do I think that they should be in the same building? Probably not, just because of fairness.
Yeah.
Because of fairness, and because, especially if you're an administrator, you shouldn't have your child in the same building. I just feel that way. It doesn't matter what school it is. I just feel that way just because if somebody had an issue with your child, they would never feel okay to go to you about it. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, well, and that's a great point. So, you know.
But like I said, I'm in no way trying to cut legacies here, you know, like if mom's a teacher, dad's a teacher, kid wants to be a teacher, I'm for that. Like, you know, that's not what I'm saying. We're just trying to bring that, you know, kind of shed some light on this
just
situation.
To think about it, you know, like that's something I had never really thought about until really digging into this, you know.
Yeah.
So, okay, so another thing she brought up was in the Miss Judy Lynn's letter that we're going over, was teachers' retirement.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had put in there based on the 3 highest paid salary years.
Yeah, so whatever your 3 highest salary years is, that's what your retirement's based on.
Yeah, so if you can get raises in that, your retirement's going to be higher.
Correctamundo.
Yeah.
Yep. So you want to get all the raises you can before you get out of there so that you got a good retirement.
Yeah. And then the next point she brought up, which is a lengthy point and which we'll be going over more in depth, but is Don Christensen.
Mm-hmm.
So he was hired in 2015. One point she made was he had no interest in our community.
Or our staff, or anyone, or our teachers. No interest at all. He was in it to win it. That's...
To win the highest paid salary ever in Porch Tree, or in the school district, maybe.
Probably. That's it.
It was hefty.
Yep. Sometimes.
So yeah, and then he was placed on leave by Ash Grove School District, which we have a news article on that we are going to read, and an audit report that we're going to read. And let's see, another point she made was his interest was finding another high-paying superintendent job.
Yeah.
And he did.
That's what I was saying. He was in it to win it.
Yep. And
he wanted another high-paying job because his other one he was already on leave at, and he wanted somewhere to go. And somehow he landed here with us.
We were the lucky winners of that.
Yep.
I guess. So he went from making around $90,000, and that is in the news report and in the audit report is actually a little higher than that, which it'll break it down. And so he went from that to making around $160,000, which is a substantial amount of money.
Told you it was in it to win it.
Yeah. We should have looked up, like, just for fun, like how much, like, a doctor makes.
Doctor? Is he I don't even...
No, I'm just like in general, in comparison. I mean, that's a lot of money, $160,000 a year.
That is a lot of salad.
Which is what we found. So I mean, if that's not correct, then somebody can please correct us. But that is what we found that he made. The only, I think, thing we found. Because
you can't find them right now.
Yeah, there is a website that you can go on that tells you how much every teacher in the school district makes in every district in Missouri.
But not good old Don.
But he is not on it.
He swept under that rug.
So, and he's supposed to be our Spanish teacher, apparently.
Still, like, he was just hired on for this year.
I know.
For 2025 into 2026, he was hired on for a part-time Spanish teacher, but he's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, so we don't know what he's making now.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And the fact that we have heard that he wears many hats.
Yes. So, and we'll leave it at that because,
Yes.
We don't have facts on that.
We don't have the facts, but we have heard.
Or public knowledge, because that's what we're going off of, and all of this is public knowledge.
So if you
it's not hearsay or
you
slander.
guys have the facts, bring them to us.
So anyways, and then another remark that was made in the letter was that he handpicked and groomed employees, mainly women, to follow him and treat him like a god and do anything he said.
Which is very concerning.
That's a very serious accusation.
I know, I circled that part. I'm like, woo! And there's a picture, and I'm just saying, they said it was a funny, but it looks really bad.
Yeah.
It's like one of those 80s picture where all the staff is down below and he's way up top, and they're all looking at him. And they said it was a funny picture.
They did it in a joke or something for some reason.
But it looks really bad.
It does look bad.
It makes him look like a god.
And they're
like a leader.
Him. Yeah.
And it's just a weird picture.
It is a weird picture. I mean, I get the joke maybe, but like it doesn't. If you didn't have context, you're like, what in the world is this?
Well, I mean, it really puts that in perspective, her saying that.
Yeah, it does.
Groomed them and made them look,
Yeah, groomed employees, mainly women, yeah. And followed him and treat him like a god and do anything he said.
Yeah, yikes.
Yikes is right.
Yikes.
So another thing it brought up was he created more admin roles, unnecessary assistant roles and positions.
Which we knew that he created these assistant roles when we never had assistant principals, really. And we never had no assistant superintendent either, I don't think. Did we?
I think he did. I think he did create that position, but I don't think we did before that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think so. But
we were just fine.
I haven't looked that up
with lead
so
principals.
I can't tell you for sure,
we never had the assistant principals as well.
No, we hadn't had assistant principals. We've only had head principals.
Yes. Yeah. So it created those unnecessary roles, and now we're out more money because of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that assistant principals don't help, because Lord knows they do. And sometimes you can go to them over the actual principal, and get things done. But was it needed for our district, for how many kids we have in our district? I don't know. Because after talking to Miss Irma, who was down in Texas and stuff, it was super weird for her too. Like, because of the amount of kids we have here, they had like 10 times as many kids. So they actually did need assistance.
Yeah.
And they didn't have as many assistants as what we have.
But we did look up other school districts.
We did.
To see how, is that a normal practice?
I think.
And other school, like Willow Springs has assistants. And I think most of their schools have assistants.
But Winona didn't.
Winona did not, no. And, but they're a little smaller school than us, a little bit. And Willow's about the same size
I
as
think
we are.
that this was created like around the time that he got, like in 2015, 14, it got real big. And like all the schools tried to implement going in with assistance as well.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what happened.
But that's your opinion.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't researched that out.
Yeah.
But it just seems kind of weird.
Yep. And then it said that he created those roles for his closest followers. So that's...
Yep.
That's hard.
That's hard because you're wondering which ones are his closest followers?
It begs the question, doesn't it?
Are you wondering? I'm wondering. I think I've drank too much coffee.
Okay. So then another point it made was older teachers got pushed out. They hired unqualified people, newly certified teachers. And then she made the point that was because you could pay them much cheaper salaries and more money.
Well, the start out pay is cheaper than what an older teacher gets. It is. I mean, no matter what, you might start out at $30,000 to $40,000, but it's still going to be cheaper than what the older teachers are making.
Yeah, because they've made more money as they've been there. Some teachers have been there 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I looked it up, what is this? Oh, that's part of your head.
It's attached.
Okay.
It's my hair.
And so, like, one of those teachers, was Mrs. Adams that was bullied, right? Because that's how they, it made the claim that that's how they removed them, is bullying and extra workload. We'll say, and we'll add nonsensical non-necessary classes and different things that they make them take that they don't really need, and
yes,
extra workload, right? Because that goes
yes.
in with that.
And so, I mean, that's who I talked about in my speech, Miss Adams, and she ended up passing away because she was just under an immense amount of stress with all of it. Mm-hmm. And like it said, they didn't know, she didn't even really know that she had a heart condition until it was too late.
Yeah.
And the stress was already with her. It was just too much. And I mean, like she said, she had been to Bible study telling her the horror stories about what was happening, and the bullying and the taunting. So, I mean, that's some pretty real stuff, guys. Like, that's sad.
Yeah, if you're that high stressed at your job that you're being treated so poorly that it's going to cause you to cry all the time and have a heart attack, like,
yeah, and going to your friends and telling the horror stories about what you're enduring all the time.
Yeah, that's awful.
That's pretty darn bad.
It's awful. And Miss Adams was such a...
I just don't understand. She was such a sweet lady. Like, she's just such a sweet, sweet lady.
Yeah.
I'm just so willing to help and get in there, and always helping on anything we had going on in the school. And like, if we did field day, she was there, all of that.
Yeah.
So she was just such a sweet lady.
Yeah.
Anyway,
the next point was the long-term goal of consolidation, which
we know, and which we have talked about, and you guys have heard it. Like, we have went over this and stressed this, that is their goal. That is what they are trying to do. There is a 10-year plan.
Yeah, we've heard that from too many people for it to be a coincidence. We've even heard that from retired people that, that's just, they've heard it. They've worked in the system. Even like a janitor worked in the system, right, in the district. Mm-hmm. And, they've heard it. It's common knowledge.
They had actually said that they tried to do it before he had left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Birch Tree people had to step up and stop it. And so here we are again, back to the drawing board. And now this generation is going to have to stand up and stop it if we don't want it to happen.
Yep.
And I, for one, don't want it to happen.
And statistically, you're supposed, before a school closes, you're supposed to start 5 years prior to the school consolidating or closing to work on getting a plan together how to stop that.
Yeah, and to get everybody involved and on the same page.
Yes.
Because, just like I said, some people don't think like that the town is going to die, mm-hmm. that the school is the heart of your town, mm-hmm. that businesses especially don't think mm-hmm. that when our school closes, the people can go with it.
Yep.
And they might move closer so their kid doesn't have to ride a bus as long. Mm-hmm. Or they might move closer just because it's easier.
Well, and when people move into a community that have children, what is the first things they look at? They look at the school.
Yep.
How is the school doing? What is it like? What's the district like? Where is it located? Because they're going to want to be closer to the school. And so it's just natural that it's... Sorry about that. So anyway, so you've got to start looking at it and being proactive about it 5 years before the consolidation happens. And if we're in about year 3 or 4 of that consolidation plan, we're right in that window that we need to be talking about it now.
Yeah, and we need to be getting everybody on the same page.
Now.
And making everyone aware of the situation.
Now.
And making everyone know what will happen to our town. Look at the statistics around us. You can look at all these other towns. Thomasville.
Mm-hmm. It consolidated with Alton.
Piedmont.
And it is not a town anymore, really. It's just got a handful of businesses and not really growing, and it's dying.
Peace Valley.
Yep. Fremont.
That's
not Piedmont.
Not Piedmont. Fremont. Whoops.
Yeah, Fremont consolidated with Van Buren, and they're no longer... they've got a post office there, but I think that's about it.
But again, this goes back to getting that consolidation paperwork, because that consolidation paperwork will help us in the long run in this fight to keep our school open.
Yep.
I don't know why this is the worst, best kept secret. Why? I mean, even the superintendent, and I said that in my letter, even the superintendent herself said that that's been the goal for the last 30 years.
Did she say goal, or did she say...
That's been the goal.
Or rumor?
No, she said I think that's been the goal for the last 30 years, basically.
Yeah.
And...
But, either way, she said, they've heard about it, basically. It's been said for the last 30 years.
Saying something about it.
Yeah, we could see you talking, but couldn't hear anything you were saying. Not sure if anyone else experienced this, but on my end, this is what happened.
Can you hear us now?
Will you reply yes or no if you can hear us now, Sandy?
I think it was because of someone called and it cut us out for a minute.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Good. Thank you for responding. Yes.
Yeah. So someone called and it cut us off, so we had to come back on.
Yep. So consolidation is important. It's important to get on board now with us with trying to stop this consolidation plan.
Yep. At least 5 years prior.
Yep. Yeah, that's the same thing.
Okay. All right.
So,
where are we now?
Dr. Christensen is still working in this district, which we mentioned.
And this is his many hats.
Yeah, and he gets retirement, plus he's a Spanish teacher. Plus, we've heard but can't confirm, right? We're going to say these because we've heard it but can't confirm it, that he's a fill-in bus driver, possible financial advisor.
Or helps with that.
Yeah, possible mentor or coach to the current superintendent.
Yep, we've heard that.
Yeah, but we don't know.
So these are the many hats that I was talking about that we've heard that he does.
Yeah.
And if he does them, he probably gets paid for them.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
yes. Well, someone just messaged us and said, yep, that's all true. So, another confirmation.
Yeah.
Of
from the other people we've heard this from.
From the other people we've heard that from. So, yeah. Again, he wears many hats. Many, many hats in this school district. And so...
And that's interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Because...
When you can't find anything that
you can't find anything on the public pay. You can't find nothing on him on public pay. If you all know how to investigate, I'm telling you, go investigate for us and find something on his public pay. Because we couldn't find nothing. And we found everybody else but him.
Just for in the thing of honesty and transparency.
Dog over there.
Oh. So then the next thing was the middle school principal allowed to do whatever she wants, basically.
Which we've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, just in that Dr. Pepper can case alone, you've seen some of the things were skipped over.
The bypass of policy.
The bypass of policy and things were skipped over, and it was not handled in the way it should have been handled.
According to their own policies and rules.
And procedures.
And procedures.
Policies and procedures.
Yes. And then
the new hire of after Miss Heine, it was Angie Gesture that come and stepped into that role. And now she's filling both positions of the principal on both times.
Yep.
And the fact that should mean that she has a larger salary. And
the point that, you know, she is going to be doing and filling some of the superintendent role, basically.
Yep. Yeah, because we've talked about that in curriculum and making sure all of the teachers are on board and on the same curriculum.
Yeah.
Which is kind of strange because they meet. Like, all of our teachers meet up and talk about the curriculum and make sure they're all in the same page in curriculum.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 times a year or something like that, we were told.
Yeah. So why on earth do we need a principal just basically to make sure that they're all
on the same
page in curriculum
when they meet up?
I mean, that's what she told us when we asked her. But again, we tell you that I hate to say that, but she talks in circles. And you're like, no, that don't make no sense to us. What you're saying. Words are coming out of your mouth, but I ain't understanding any of it.
Try again.
we go in a circle. Just a circle, over and over.
Anyway. And then we talked about this with the nepotism thing, but she hired in Catherine Shockley, sorry, as the assistant principal, and then her son was hired also, but he got moved, I do believe.
And we know who Katie Shockley is related to Angie Gesture, and so that's going to be awkward.
Yeah.
Again, with the nepotism thing.
Yeah.
So, the principal is her boss, and they're related, so I'm not sure who you go to there.
Well, and even, I mean, if you have an issue or a problem as a parent, not just a teacher.
Yeah, because if you have a problem with Shockley and you go to Angie,
Gesture, yes. Mrs. Gesture, yes.
You might feel like she's being biased.
Yes.
And if you have a problem...
We're not saying that she's going to be. We're just saying the potential to be is there. And we're not attacking anybody personally. We're just shedding light on some questions that
we already discussed that.
Yeah.
Because the potential is there. You just don't know who to go to in that situation. So.
Yeah. So
I'm not saying...
We went over that in the nepotism video, so you can kind of go back and watch it.
I'm not saying that...
Let us know your thoughts on it.
It's a bad thing or any... You know what I mean? I'm just saying it's going to be a hard to navigate thing.
Yeah. So then the next point was taking away from Birch Tree.
Yeah. Which we already know that is happening.
Oh, but hey, at the end of the school year, they got a new ball pit or something.
Yeah, that one ball. I can't remember what it's called.
But I do think that the people that donated to make that possible. That's genuine. I genuinely do thank the people that donated to make that possible.
I do.
But it was at the end of the school year, so that just seemed really odd.
It seemed very odd that they put it in like the last month of the school year. But it also seemed very odd to us, in fact, because we had just been going and complaining about how much we felt like Birch Tree was being overpassed. So...
Passed over.
Whatever. Throw me a freaking bone here.
Overpassed. We're overpassed.
But, you know, the bias stuff going on. And we brought that up. So it just seemed kind of crazy.
Yeah.
To us. Because it just made no sense for them to put it in like the last month of school.
Yeah, so it's all just going to be sitting there basically all, you know.
They got to use it for 1 month?
3 months, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
For summer break. So anyways, and then the nurse, we don't have a full-time nurse at Birch Tree. Our nurse she retired this year, I believe, Dr. Christensen's wife. And the allegation from this letter is that she was never there. And that our secretary here in Birch Tree was having to give children meds.
Yeah, and
which
take
she's
care
not
of them.
qualified to do. Not saying that she, not saying anything against her. I'm just saying it shouldn't be her job.
No,
that's not her job
She
description.
does an awesome job, and she calls anytime anybody needed anything. But it wasn't
her job to do it.
Yeah.
We hired a nurse for a reason. Where is our nurse? Where was the nurse?
Oh, well, she's retired now. So,
but where was she? We're supposed to have her. Why didn't we have her?
She wasn't there a whole lot. I know that.
Yeah. Which is concerning, especially if a kid went into anaphylactic shock or something. What do you do then?
I remember that I had to catch her on the days that I had to give one of my kids their EpiPens. Because I had to give it to her, in case something ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to catch her on a day that she was there.
Mm.
So she wasn't there as much as what she should have been, for sure.
Yeah. And we don't know if she was in Mountain View. You guys can tell us. We don't know that. We don't know. And we don't know why she wasn't there. We're just saying we should have had a full-time nurse. Mountain View should have had a full-time nurse. We shouldn't have been splitting time between the nurses. Whatever the reason is, we're not.
If she couldn't have been there, then she needed, at that point in time, we needed a sub or a fill-in.
Yeah.
Or something.
Something. Yeah. Because the nurse is a pretty important.
Yeah, because if something happens, especially like my kids, like I said, they had EpiPens there. In case something happened. Mm-hmm. And you kind of need to know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If in those cases of allergic reaction or something, you really need to know exactly what to do.
Yeah, and in that situation, you can't really call somebody, they can't get there in 30 minutes because, at that point, you just need to call an ER, an ambulance.
Well, yeah, but, you gotta make that decision to administer that EpiPen, and sometimes before you can even call a parent because it may be too late.
That's true. That is true. And then the next one was our art teacher.
So we don't have a full-time art teacher.
Mountain View has a full-time art teacher. Mountain View Elementary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe so.
Well, we have a part-time, right? She does two things.
The librarian?
Yeah, she does the librarian and the art.
Yes. But she shouldn't have to. We should have a full-time art teacher.
Do they have a full-time librarian?
I believe so.
Did the librarian do two things down there? Or just one? Questions to ask. And then music.
Music, yes.
Our music is it too.
Is a shared teacher?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think she has to drive.
Yep.
So then, what's your next point?
Yeah, so we were told that the accredited art teacher, well, here's the answer to that question that I wrote down.
Oh, gosh.
We were told that the accredited art teacher didn't want to drive to BTE and that the retired superintendent told her she didn't have to. That's what we were told. But, I don't know because I wasn't in that room, and I don't know if that's 100% true. But
so the art teacher didn't want to drive. But we've heard that before. Mm-hmm. I mean, hearsay, but we've heard it before. Like, some people from Mountain View don't want to drive up here.
But either way, the point of the thing is that she didn't come to Birch Tree like she should have. Yeah. And was possibly hired in that way. We don't know for sure. Well,
that's what they're all hired, right? When they have to do that, they're told that they can go wherever.
Well, we've been told that when you sign a contract with the school, they can move you wherever they want in the district.
Things to know. So you shouldn't be able to refuse any of it. Mm-hmm. Because you signed a contract stating that you could be moved anywhere in the district. Mm-hmm. So you shouldn't be able to refuse. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to. Per the contract.
Yeah.
Yeah. But apparently, maybe you can. I don't know.
Guess if you're in
These are questions.
If you're in good enough with certain people.
These are the questions. Let's see. And then we talked about the consolidation. And in the consolidation paperwork, we brought up the tax thing. To where if
the tax levy?
Yeah, the tax levy.
That if we fund the school?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have that over our heads as well? Mm-hmm. And on our taxes?
Yep. If they do that, if they do take, like we do now for paying
because we're paying for the middle school. How much did your taxes go? How much of your taxes?
What was it? Last year for my tax for the school was, what did I say, $500?
I think that's what you told me. $500.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Went to the school. Yeah.
And only you only paid like $300 on your other taxes, and then it was like $500 for the school. Mm-hmm. So it was $800 altogether.
It was like 7 something.
But 500 of that was the school.
Yeah.
That's insanity. You guys want that?
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah. Do you guys want that?
That's a lot.
That's a lot. $500?
But also, I think that I want to think that he said that the board president said that our middle school be paid off in like 2026 or 2029 or something.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
So that's a few years down the road, and then they could afford to take it, maybe then, because we're already paying it now.
2026,
so why not pay it
2029.
These are the questions.
Remember, you got 5 years. We're on year 3. 2026 to 2029. It's coming into effect.
Yeah.
This 10-year plan.
Yeah. So it just all kind of, it's just circle.
It's all coinciding.
Now here is why we could see that plan is taking place, because they're merging our concerts, our music concerts. They've now merged our elementaries with the head principal situation happening into assistant principal happening. The field day was merged this year, which you parents weren't allowed to go to. Mm-hmm. Let's see, merge teachers, sharing them for extracurricular activities.
Yep. Yeah, so they're sharing the teachers for the extracurricular teachers. Yes, they're sharing them. And then we know that some teachers are being moved from Birch Tree to Mountain View, and some teachers from Mountain View is being moved to Birch Tree to get them better acquainted with this plan.
We believe. We think. That's our opinion.
Pure speculation. Don't be suspicious.
Okay. So, and then she ended the letter pretty forcefully, which we appreciate, to be honest. Because she says, "Speak now."
or forever hold your peace.
These are your children and tax dollars. It's time to wake up and stand up.
This is really it, dudes. So if you don't speak up, you won't have a leg to stand on.
No.
You're already getting a whole lot of stuff taken away.
Mm-hmm.
Parent involvement and all of that. So if you're not willing to speak up, what's going to happen? If you're not willing to stand up and speak up and say something now about what is going on, then you will have no right to speak up and stand up when it gets really bad and you get all of your rights taken away. You've been too lenient, too far, for way too long.
Well, COVID happened, and when COVID happened, parents were kind of not allowed to go into the schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you just never were
allowed to go back.
So, and unfortunately, COVID did a lot of damage.
The word I'm looking for was complacent. We have become too complacent.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was trying to find.
Mm-hmm.
And we've allowed it for far too long. And if we don't step up now, and if we don't speak now, then we won't have any right to speak up later when all of our rights are taken away.
Yeah. And I mean, this is a serious thing in our culture right now. This isn't just in our school. We're talking about our school.
Like we said,
this is a serious situation in our own daily lives.
And we've reached out to
our government.
That parents' right activist.
Mm-hmm. And this is happening all over the United States. It isn't just happening here. But if you don't stand up now, you ain't going to have any rights to stand up for later. And, because, I mean, just for example, this Dr. Pepper case, okay, they, in the, what is it called? In the deposition, no, it's not called deposition, what is it called? But anyways, in the report of the Dr. Pepper case, we go over that. But my point I want to make is, they took something that a child made inside his home, his freedom to do that, his freedom to post it on his own social media with no allegations towards anybody else, with no harmful things said towards anybody else or the school. And they took that and they made it into something that now you've got to worry about your rights, your constitutional rights.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a serious thing.
And why people were outraged at first when it first happened, I mean, you don't hear a whole lot about it now. I mean, you do still hear some. Because
we have a very bad problem of having a very short memory of things.
The squirrel, right? I get it.
But it's
a true story, though.
It is really bad.
And we become complacent. We become complacent over time.
Yeah.
Things get introduced to you and you become complacent.
Yeah. So anyways,
again, that's what I really stress to you guys, to come on board and to be part of this change, because otherwise we're not going to have a leg to stand on. Our rights will be taken away from us if we don't do something.
Yep.
If we don't ask for more parent involvement, if we or demand more parent involvement, because we have that right. We're the parents. We're the taxpayers. We have that right. And so I encourage you to reach out to them, reach out to the newspaper, reach out to the school board members. I mean, it can't just be us. So, what you doing?
And you can find this letter on Facebook so if you want to go over it and read it yourself. Looking for that article. There it is. So the next thing we're going to read is this article that we found.
Article.
The news article that is public knowledge from the Springfield News Leader. Then it goes over the what she says in this letter is that,
about the Ash Grove thing?
yes.
About him being put on leave before he was even hired for our school?
Yeah. So it says that...
and I don't think he was even all the way out of the woods yet before he was hired.
No, he was.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it says, no, placed on leave by Ash Grove School District. So we wanted to know, is that true? And in the thing of transparency that we're doing, we found out that was true. And we've got a news article to prove it. So, this is public knowledge. We're just reading it. We're just reading a news article. And this is what the news article says. Ash Grove, this is the header, Ash Grove Board attempts reboot with interim leader. Ash Grove, this was, this news article was wrote September 30th, 2014, and it was updated October 1st, 2014. So Ash Grove, 5 weeks after the school board abruptly placed longtime superintendent Don Christensen on paid administrative leave, where he will remain until June 30th. It is ready to move on. Board President Carrie Jackson remained fairly tight-lipped about the departure, preferring instead to focus on the newly hired interim Superintendent Kyle Collins, who started Monday. He will develop a plan to move our education and technology forward, she said. Collins, 46, told the news leader that he had no qualms about taking Ash Grove's top job during community discord about his predecessor's exit. Ash Grove needs a superintendent, he said. Today, in his new office, I have experience as a school administrator, so I'm just going to come in and be Kyle Collins. I'll come in and do the job I've been trained to do and impress upon the community that it's my goal to do what's best for the students of this district. Jackson acknowledged the removal of Don Christensen has been divisive. He spent 12 years as a high school principal and had just started his 8th year as superintendent. Unfortunately, there are a lot of parents who want to know why, she said. We are telling people the same thing, that he chose to retire. Jackson said many in the Northwest Greene County community have chosen sides. I applaud those who have tenacity on both sides, she said, adding that everybody is entitled to their own opinion. Christensen was placed on leave in late August, and within days the school board announced he agreed to retire and would remain on paid leave through June 30th, which is the end of their school year. During that period, he will receive more than $91,000 in salary, $14,000 in unused leave, and $7,000 worth of family health coverage insurance, or family health insurance coverage. Christensen's September 3rd resignation letter, obtained by the news leader, states, I've spent the last 19 years dedicating my life to the students and employees of the Ash Grove R4 school district. I've grown to love the individuals I've served and worked with for so many years. I now formally retire. A confidentiality clause in the amended, I'm going to start over. A confidentiality clause in the amended employment contract signed by Christensen and Jackson makes it difficult to obtain any other details. Both sides must also refrain from making disparaging comments about each other, either orally or in writing to any third party. Asked by the news leader if such a clause is standard, we have dog issues going on.
Can you let the puppies in? I don't know why they let them out.
So I'm just going to start. Asked by the news leader if such a clause is standard, Jackson said no, and that it was specific to this situation. And she wouldn't elaborate.
Man.
Oh, man's right. We have lives, you know. Jackson declined to provide any details about Christensen's job performance leading up to his removal by the board. The amended contract also requires Christensen to participate in an independent investigation of a pending grievance involving a district employee. It doesn't name the employee. Asked if Christensen is the employee, and Jackson said no. The board quickly advised for an interim leader and received 11 applications. 5 were interviewed, and Collins was hired last week. And he will be paid $63,000 this year, plus health coverage, and $2,000 in moving expenses.
So he didn't get near as much.
Yeah, he is an interim superintendent, yes. So then it says, the 680 student district maintains an operating reserve or rainy day fund for more than 40%, so Collins' pay will come out of that fund, Jackson said. Obviously, with Dr. Christensen's retirement, we need to pay both administrators, she said. So, there you go. The board will search for a permanent replacement this year, and Collins plans to...
There you go.
Plans to apply for that job. I think you can make a difference by being someplace for a while, he said. There is a learning curve, and you really have to understand a place and get involved to make a change. During this 9-month interim period, the board directed Collins to develop a comprehensive improvement plan, which each district must have, and a recommendation to boost student and staff access to technology. He will also look to ways to boost enrollment, which has dipped in recent years.
Wonder why it's dipped. Kind of like ours?
Maybe. Addressed concerns pointed out in a state audit of the district. That audit, delivered this spring, was rated fair and included 34 findings. The district is currently providing documentation to show the progress it has made on addressing those findings. Collins said starting the job weeks after the beginning of a school year means playing catch up. You just have a compressed amount of time to do everything, he said, and I've just got to learn things on the fly. Sometimes transition is good, he said, and I don't know why Dr. Christensen decided to leave and what the riff with the school board was about, but it's time for Ash Grove to move on. And so then they plan a meet and greet for him to meet everybody in the community, which I thought was a good thing. And then it goes on to talk about him, and
this audit was released
then it ends.
Like the same time.
So we're going to go over that. We're going to go over the key points of that article. But the connections is this was wrote in September of 2014. The audit report came out May 2014. He was
wow.
he was placed on leave August 2013. So in the 2013-2014 school year, right?
He was placed on leave.
He was placed on leave. And then within days, the school board, within days of him being placed on leave, the school board announced he would retire.
So something happened even before. They figured something out even before the audit came to full light.
Yes. And then, well, they probably did the audit and then placed him on leave when that audit was being done or something. Because he was placed on leave in 2013, August 2013.
He had some type of discrepancy with an employee, or something happened with an employee.
Yes, which we don't know what that is. And then he remained on paid leave through June 30th, 2014, which that's the end of the school year.
This guy.
So then...
I don't understand.
Then 5 weeks after he was placed on leave was when they hired the interim pastor, Kyle Collins.
It's not a pastor.
Oh,
he's a super.
Saying that. Super.
Super, not a pastor.
Yes. So yeah. So now we're going to go over the points that I thought was interesting, which we just did. He was placed on leave and gave resignation letter, 9/3/2013. The interim super, Mr. Collins, said his goal was to do what was best for the students of this district. I thought that was an interesting point he made. And then he said, trying to find ways to boost enrollment.
Because their enrollment
which had dropped in recent years. Which I find that interesting. Because ours has dropped.
In recent years.
A lot. I'm sure. If we were to really do the numbers.
Oh.
We know several
from
families.
2015 on, if we did the numbers?
Yeah. I mean...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just this year alone, we know 7 families?
Yeah.
That are leaving the district?
And that's just what we know of. We know there's more than that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then we've heard, like, people have moved their kids to Summersville and everything.
And Winona.
And said they'll never be back to Birch Tree School District.
Yeah. And then we've heard Winona is at capacity. They can't handle anymore.
To Mountain View Birch Tree. Winona's at max capacity.
We've heard that and can't handle, can't take any more students in because,
There's just so much, dudes. So much.
Yep. So, and then he's going to address the concerns that were in the audit report, which we're going to read to you. And we know this is a lot of reading and a lot of listening, but it's worth the listen, we promise you.
Coincidence? I think not.
So he plans to be more accessible. I thought this was an interesting choice of words. He plans to be more accessible to the community. So were they not really accessible before?
Don't be suspicious. Suspicious.
The correlation is just interesting, I thought, because, they've kind of cut off community.
It's kind of what they said before.
Kind of what's going on with us is,
nothing's working.
is that, we've had a lot of cut off with the school.
A lot of parent cut off, a lot of community cut off, a lot of people feeling like they can't really go to them with their issues, or if they do, they feel like it's just dropped, or they get the runaround circle talk.
Which we've already talked about that a little bit, but I mean, it's a concerning.
So, I mean, accessible can mean all of those things.
Right. And then hopes they will look past what happened before he came. And then there was a rift with the school board in why Christensen actually left. So
yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's interesting.
There's a lot there.
And then the current president at this time, right? School president of the school board, Jackson. Some points that were made by her was she said the removal of Christensen has been divisive, and we are telling people, I mean, this is important, they're telling people he chose to retire. I thought, she can't say anything.
That's an odd choice of words.
That's what I thought. They're telling people he chose to retire.
So it's saying, I can't tell you what really happened, but this is what I am telling you.
Yes.
That's kind of how that feels.
Because they signed, and this I find highly suspicious, is that they amended his employee contract.
Suspicious.
And added in a confidentiality clause. So they added in a confidentiality clause between him and the current, at the time,
school board president.
And so that they couldn't speak on the matters in which he got fired or retired.
So he signed an NDA.
Well, it was like an NDA, but it was a confidentiality clause added into his employment contract.
Ooh.
Is what they said.
So they're just going to keep it swept under that rug.
And then the news leader asked if this clause, we live in the country, if this clause was was that a normal thing to do, basically? And she said, no, it wasn't. It's specific, and actually she said it's specific to the situation.
Yikes.
So if it wasn't bad or concerning, or
there would have been no reason to have this clause.
Why would you need the clause?
But they wanted something to stay under that rug.
Yes. And it did.
And it did. And it followed us to our school.
Just two girls asking questions here. Just two girls asking questions. So.
Because if they don't tell what happens, like if, say, somebody gets in trouble for something and then they don't report on that, that teacher leaves and goes and does it at the same school again. And then they don't report on that. They just keep getting away with this stuff.
Well, we hope ultimately you learn from your lesson, right? I mean, because that it can be a thing.
I mean, for sure. We hope you repent and you look to Jesus and will actually be forgiven and ask for forgiveness. But and then you have some that don't and just continue to repeat a pattern.
Yes. And so we're just pointing out possible.
Well, the possible pattern of the recent drop in kids, that's a real pattern.
Yeah, that has happened.
That's a real pattern.
Yes. And it's ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the news article, and that is our
mosquitoes.
That was our thoughts on that news article.
What, if we do this at night much more, we're going to have to get us one of them citronella candles.
I was thinking that the other day.
We should have
bought one.
Bug zapper ain't cutting it.
Yep. So now we're going to go over the audit. And it is lengthy. And I will tell you,
We're not sure how long we've already been here.
I will tell you that this audit, like, I'm gonna contribute it to the grace of God that it was so easy to find. I literally just typed in a few words and boop, there it is.
It just showed right up.
But I'm gonna say it was very easy to find. This took minimal work.
So anyone could do it, is what we're saying. That you can do the research too.
Yes, and we encourage that.
We want you to look and see, and make sure we're covering all of our facts.
Yep.
Make sure we're not missing anything. We don't want to not be presenting facts.
Yep. And so when I go to read this audit, we're gonna read the audit findings. Okay, we're gonna read the audit findings. It's broke up into like three sections of audit findings, state auditors' recommendations, so their recommendations to fix this issue, and then the school then gives a synopsis and explains how they're going to fix it. So we're not going to read how the state recommends they fix it. You can go read that if you want to. Because
it's like 46 pages long or something like that.
And we're not going to read what the school's going to do to fix it. If you want to read those two things, you can go back and read them yourself.
But we can read the findings.
Yeah. Yeah, but we're going to read the findings.
We'll focus on those.
Most of them, we're going to focus on the points that we find interesting or relevant. But like we said, it's 46 pages, 47 pages actually, and we've got to condense it down so we're not here all night. But
ultimately, why we tell you these things is so that maybe you would think, I might need to question things a little more. I mean...
well, it's important to be involved.
It's important.
We're realizing that now.
Yeah, we weren't questioning things either. We weren't questioning nothing. And then all of a sudden, God hit us upside the head and was like, dudes, you need to start looking into some stuff.
Well, and ultimately, life happens and then slowly, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not allowed in my kid's school anymore. What's going on with that? And then that thread pulls a whole thread, and then if you're us, and then now here you are.
And then you do a deep dive, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know where to stop. I want it to stop.
Anyway, you need some more coffee? You're going to make it through? I'm concerned for you. I'm just teasing.
I'm not so sure.
Okay.
My brain goes to mush sometimes.
Okay, let me go over. Let me find my audit page. So we're going to go over the important points. We can link the audit. We can do that.
We can do that.
If people want to research it, do your own research yourself. Because this audit is public knowledge.
If you want us to link it, ask for it in the comments, and then we'll link it. But otherwise, you guys can just look it up yourselves. Mm-hmm. But if you want us to do the extra work, we will.
Yep.
We just want you to know that.
So it's important to understand that this audit was requested. And we looked up the difference in the audit. So there's a yearly audit that all schools go through.
But it's not a deep dive audit. Yeah. It's not like this audit.
Yes.
The regular annual audit is not the same as like this audit.
Yes, and it has to be, to get an audit, you have to, either the school board has to vote to do an audit, and if it passes, then they can request an audit from the state auditor's office. But if, say your school board doesn't think that's necessary, don't want to do that, citizens, like a citizen, can go to the state, request an audit, and they will get papers, and they have to get around 1,000 signatures, depending on how big your school is or the number of taxpayers you have, one of those. And so we'll just say 1,000 signatures. They have to get 1,000 signatures. And so then you have to get 1,000 signatures to be able to 1,000 signatures of people that are registered voters in your district. And then you have to present that to the auditor's office, and when they make sure all the signatures are good, then they will conduct an audit. So that's how you get a state audit.
Yeah, it's like a special thing, and they do like a serious deep dive.
Yes. So they go through everything. They go through classrooms and the way teachers handle money, the way that board handles money. They do such a more in-depth handling, or like forensic audit, financial audit. Okay. So,
your points.
My points.
Here we go.
Yes.
Here we go.
So this audit was done in Ash Grove, of Ash Grove School District. But for the 2012-2013 school year, the district operated a junior-senior high school located in Ash Grove, and 2 elementary schools located in Boys d'Arc and Ash Grove.
2012 to 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So stuff was going on. He was put on leave in 2013.
Yes.
Oh,
but they did the audit of those years, of that school year.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I see.
To the year prior to being put on leave. Mm-hmm.
Stuff was definitely going on.
And then him choosing to retire.
Yeah, that was very suspicious.
Let's see. An elected board acts as policymaker and body for the district operations. And the board members were, I'm not going to say the first names, but I'll say the last names. Duncan was president. Renshaw was vice president. Reed was treasurer. Jackson was a member. Keith was a member. Reese was a member. And Mulberry was a member. The district superintendent at June 30th, 2013 was Christensen. And his compensation for the 2012-2013 school year was $108,000 and $233, including a base salary of $96,648. The value of health and critical care insurance, including family coverage, totaling $9,109. $725 in district paid premiums each year for a $500,000 life insurance policy, and a vehicle allowance of $1,500.
Dang.
Compensation that year also included compensation for driving a district bus, totaling $250. The superintendent compensation is established by the school board.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money. It is. Okay.
It also had in there something about he got travel pay.
Yeah, in here. In the audit.
Yeah, I read it.
So the audit was fair out of 4 categories. You have excellent, good, fair, and poor. Fair means the audit results indicate the entity needs to improve operations in several areas. The report contains several findings or one or more findings that require management's immediate attention, and or the entity has indicated several recommendations will not be implemented. In addition, if applicable, several prior recommendations have been implemented. Okay, so these are the critical areas. This is the citizen summary that we're going to read. Okay, so findings in the audit of the Ash Grove School District. Accounting controls this is the subheading, accounting controls over cash receipts and change funds. So it says the district needs to improve its handling of receipts and change funds, a large portion of which are received in cash, and the district has not adequately segregated duties. Staff do not properly record all monies received, timely transmit, or deposit monies collected. Indicate the composition of receipts and maintain copies of receipt slips, and sometimes use monies on hands to pay expenses without obtaining adequate documentation. In addition, the school district does not maintain inventory records for concession items. Monies are not always kept in a secure location. The auditors found $462 in a cash student activity fees in an unlocked desk drawer, file cabinets in classrooms, and $3,256 in cash in an office closet to which all employees have access. The district does not account for tokens and meal cards or reconcile tokens and meal cards and the monies collected. Each school maintains various change funds, but the district does not include any of this money in the accounting records.
So all of that money wasn't in the accounting records?
No.
Holy moly.
So district compensation. I've highlighted this one because I think this one's...
That's a lot. 3,000 and then 500 or
that
400?
was just in a closet, an office closet.
Yikes.
That everyone had access to, it said.
And then the other one was in an unlocked drawer.
Yeah.
Yikes. And then they didn't even put it on the account books.
Yeah.
Oof.
Okay, so this is district compensation. The district lacks adequate procedures for approving employment contracts and does not prepare...
Hi, guys.
And does not prepare employment contracts or separately approve salary schedules for tenured teachers. The district gives the superintendent an annual in-district mileage allowance of $1,500, but has not documented the basis for the additional compensation and did not report it as taxable income.
Oh, my.
The district did not report on a W-2 form additional compensation paid to the superintendent for driving a bus to athletic events. Additional compensation paid to employees for working the gate at athletic events. Additional compensation paid to 3 teachers for awards. And the value of commuting miles for the maintenance/bus mechanic. The district paid $51,000 in step-ladder payments to 43 teachers, but lack adequate policy and procedures to administrate the program properly.
Oh, man. That's nuts. They can't even do it properly. Why are they?
So the district paid $51,000 in step-ladder payments.
But don't know what they're doing.
To 43 teachers, but lacked adequate policies and procedures to administrate the program properly.
So they weren't following the procedures
Yeah.
that were put into place.
Yeah.
Whew, that's a lot.
That's not all. Payroll procedures, records, and policies. That's what that's the heading of this one. The district has not established adequate segregation of duties or supervision over payroll functions. Some employees do not prepare timesheets, time cards, and leave requests. And some employees have allowed to carry negative leave balances, no review of time and leave records prepared by the district bookkeeper is performed. And the district bookkeeper did not properly track hours worked by retired employees.
What?
The district does not maintain a list of related employees and board members, and it lacks adequate policies and procedures regarding the hiring, supervising, and tracking of related employees. See where this gets dicey?
Yeah. And the fact that we can't find pay right now.
Okay, so that one was interesting.
On public pay, you can't find them nowhere.
But also this is where this is worrisome, because, you know, it says the district does not maintain a list of related employees and board members, and it lacks adequate policies and procedures regarding the hiring, supervising, and tracking of related employees. This is all under his supervision, by the way.
Things that make you go,
Okay. Bond refining. This is the title of this next one. Bond refining procurement procedures and construction projects.
I'm so glad you're reading this and not me. I got stripped up on salary.
I'm going to take a drink. This is a lot of reading. And we've got a few more points, and then we're done with the citizen summary. Okay. So the district sold general obligation bonds through a negotiated rather than a competitive sale. So they negotiated the sale of these bonds instead of selling them through competitive sale, and did not select the bond underwriter competitively. The district did not always follow its own bidding policies and has not established policies for the selection of some vendors providing professional services. The board did not evaluate 3 construction management firms before contracting with a company for a project which began in 2012, and does not properly monitor construction projects. So you're supposed to have 3 bids, I think, and they didn't do that. They just accepted the 1 bid. That tells you further down in like the details of the,
yeah, you're supposed to see which one's the better one to go with.
Yeah. So, you know, like what the audit does is it gives you like these points, and then it gives you a summary, and then it goes into further detail down in the paperwork.
This guy did a lot. A lot happened underneath his care.
Yeah.
At that school. Let's just say
Under
that.
his care, yeah. I mean, well.
Under his supervision.
And the board.
And the board.
Yeah.
Under their supervision.
Yeah. So then that makes you wonder, was this contractor connected to somebody, you know, going
maybe?
with the favoritism situation, right?
Family?
We don't know. It's speculation. Anyway. Disbursements.
Oh, because they took the 1 bid instead of...
Yeah, instead of doing properly the way
saying.
you're supposed to do it. You know, you're supposed to have 3 bids and then take the lowest bid, I'm sure, you know, to save money for your school. So, disbursements is the next heading. The district does not adequately segregate accounting duties over disbursements, and the list of bills approved by the board each month is incomplete. The district paid $10,610 to a local hardware business owned by the board president, Renshaw, for purchase made without soliciting bids. So there's another issue with the bid, right? They didn't solicit bids.
Oh, they just did it through him?
Yes.
Because he was the president of the school board?
I'm going to assume. The administrative office made numerous disbursements totaling $19,259 from a petty cash account which the school board did not know existed. And the district lacks...
Petty cash account, huh?
Yeah, that they didn't know existed. And which the school board did not know existed, and the district lacks a formal purchase order policy. The district vendor list contained numerous errors. The district lacks formal policies for employee reimbursement, local meal purchases, and gift/awards, and the district did not always enter into written contracts or effectively monitor contracts. That goes into further detail and has something to do with a teacher going on a cruise. A
teacher going on a cruise?
Yes, and then paying for it, basically.
They paid for the teacher to go on a cruise?
Yes.
Dang. Dang, Daniel.
Sign me up. No, I'm just kidding.
Sign me up, no.
Not for this. That's not what I meant. I mean just to go on a cruise, in general.
You wouldn't go on
Paid
a
by
cruise.
me.
She says that, but she wouldn't go
No,
on
I
a
wouldn't.
cruise.
No, I wouldn't. I feel like that was bad timing in saying that. But don't take that out of context. Okay. Don't sign me up to be a part of this nonsense. No. Absolutely not.
We get you. You're good. You're overthinking it. Oh, good Lord.
Okay. Budget monitoring and accounting records and control.
Back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board. The district does not maintain complete and accurate information in its accounting system, and the board does not adequately monitor budget to actual receipts and disbursements. The secretary of the school board is able to post adjustments to the accounting system without independent approval, and electronic signatures of the school board president and treasurers are not adequately safeguarded. Yeah, so you would think that's maybe not a part of her job description, I guess. I don't know.
Just speculation here.
Okay. Attendance. That's all this. All this whole thing is.
Speculation and opinions.
Attendance reporting and computer controls. The district attendance system does not adequately track some changes or limit the time frame for making changes. Changes are not renewed, and audit staff found some inadequacies. The district has not adequately restricted access to computer systems and has not established security controls to shut down computers after a period of inactivity or prevent incorrect login attempts. So that's just a security protocol thing.
And up there you said something about leave, like they didn't track their leave or paid leave and all of that.
Yeah. They didn't track it well, or yeah. And then I've got two more of these, and it says the school board procedures and minutes. The school board reorganized its 2 elementary schools without thoroughly performing or documenting a cost-benefit analysis, and did not track actual cost benefits. The school board did not always comply with the Sunshine Law and did not always maintain complete and accurate minutes. The district policies are not complete, accurate, up to date, or adequately communicated to district employees. And then the last one is capital assets and fuel usage. And this one, let's see. The district does not maintain a detailed record of district property and has not performed inventories of capital assets held outside the classroom. The capital assets listed did not include 12 pieces of equipment valued at $56,000.
Whoa.
And did not include all necessary information. The district does not maintain fuel and mileage logs and does not reconcile fuel purchases to fuel used. Does not reconcile fuel purchases to fuel used. So I don't have a checks and balances for that.
For all the fuel that people use?
Yeah, the fuel that they use.
Going back and forth?
Purchase and use, I guess. Within the district, I guess.
So like paid mileage and stuff probably. And they just don't, they don't write any of it down.
Well, they may be some, I don't know. They just don't have enough checks and balances.
Not for everybody.
Yeah. So, that was the citizens' summary. That is it, broke down into a nutshell, the auditor's report for Ash Grove School District. In 2014 is when it came out. It was audited for the year of 2012 and 2013.
In 2014, and we got Christensen in 2015.
Correct. Correct. So,
get your wheels a turning.
So, this is what this is what they audited, right? They went over is to evaluate the district's internal controls over significant management and financial functions. So that's one thing they did in their audit, was go over and evaluate the district's internal controls over significant management and financial functions. The second thing was evaluate the district's compliance with certain legal provisions. And the third thing they evaluated was the economy and efficiency of certain management practices and operations, including certain financial transactions. So their methodology in doing this is including reviewing minutes of meetings, written policies and procedures, financial records, and other pertinent documents, interviewing various personnel of the district, as well as certain external parties, and testing selected transactions. We obtained an understanding of internal controls that are significant within the context of the audit objectives, and assessed whether such controls have been properly designed and placed in operation. We also obtained an understanding of legal provision that are significant within context of the audit objectives. And we assessed the risk. We assessed the risk that legal acts, including fraud and violations of contracts, grant agreements, or other legal provisions could occur. Based on that risk assessment, we designed and performed procedures to provide reasonable assurance of detecting instances of non-compliance significant to those provisions. So, they identified in this audit deficiencies in internal controls. This is what they identified. They identified deficiencies in internal controls, non-compliance with legal provisions, and the need for improvement in management practices and procedures.
Kill that mosquito. Sorry.
So the Accounting Management Advisory Report presents our findings arising from our audit of the Ash Grove School District. So that's a lot. And that's not even it broke down. That's in summary. That's in summary
of the story
of that.
is, peeps, you can find this audit, you can pull it up, and you can read it yourself. There was a lot of stuff that happened under the leadership of the ex-superintendent.
And in Ash Grove.
In Ash Grove, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our ex-superintendent is the same person.
Yes. Yeah.
So, there was a lot of stuff that happened in underneath the leadership and underneath the leadership of the board. So, you can go and find all of that, and you just do a very simple search and it brings it right up. And again, if you want us to link the audit, we can. We can link it in the comments, but like I said, we're not going to do that unless someone shows some interest in it. So
I think we should link it for anybody that wants to see it.
I mean,
what does it matter? It's public knowledge.
I mean, we could link it, but it's really like, I just typed in his name and it came right up.
For this?
Yeah, I think so. That article did.
The article, yeah.
Yeah.
You found the article. And I found this audit.
And what did you do to find it? What did you do to find it?
I just typed in, probably, I don't know what I typed in. Ash Grove audit, maybe?
Well, maybe you do need to link it then. Oh, well, then type in Ash Grove audit.
Maybe.
Maybe. I'll just keep on repeating what you said.
What is happening right now?
I'm just repeating what you're telling me. Do we have more to read?
Well, I was just going to read some of these points that, in here that elaborate more. So it goes over a number of different things like accounting, control over cash and receipts and change fund. And it says it needs significant improvements are needed in the handling of student activity, athletes, meals, the activities, athletic, and meals before and after school programs. It says for the segregation of duties, it says the district has not adequately segregated duties of receiving, recording, and depositing or transmitting money at the 3 schools or the administrative office, and documented supervisory or independent reviews of the accounting records are not performed.
Not performed.
Mm-hmm. So they don't have a plan in place in accounting all of their money. Let's see. Receipts and recording and depositing. The school does not establish written policies that address the type of records to be maintained and the accounting procedures to be followed by the employees for the collection of depositing money.
That's pretty bad.
We noted several concerns regarding receipting and recording procedures and identified numerous instances where staff did not transmit or deposit receipts timely and intact.
Oh.
The administration office and the schools do not have adequate procedures in place to properly record all monies received. Additionally, some district receipts are handled by several employees before deposit.
Oh, that's not good.
And there is not always adequate documentation to support the transmittal of monies from one district employee to another.
Yeah, that's really not good.
The junior high and high school teachers did not always issue receipt slips for students' activity monies collected. And the schools did not issue receipts and money for a lot of things.
A lot. We did warn you guys this was going to be a long video.
Yes, but it is important because it's in the details, right, of the things that are happening in this school district underneath his administration.
Yeah, it specifically said in there that their enrollment had dropped. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
underneath his leadership.
Yes.
So, and I would say it definitely dropped underneath his leadership here.
Yeah.
Because it was under his leadership that you pulled your children out.
It was. It was, actually. You
know.
are correct. So, and then it says to provide guidance to district employees and improve accountability over monies collected, the district should establish written policies for the collection and processing of monies properly. So that's them telling them what they need to do.
We're not going to go into that one, right?
No. So then it'll go. Then it goes over. No, we're not going into that one. I just included that because I thought that was interesting, or that they were telling them that. And so then it'll go over what the auditors tell them to do, suggest that they do to fix the issues that they are having, and then it responds back with the school district saying this is the policies and the things that they are putting into place to fix these issues. And we're not reading you all that. And it's called the recommendations and the auditee's response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So number 2, district compensation and employee contracts and stipends. The district needs to improve its employee contracts and additional compensation documentation and reporting procedures. In addition, the district needs to improve policies and documentation for the stepladder compensation program. The district does not have adequate procedures for approving employment contracts and does not prepare employment contracts or separately approve salaries, schedules for tenured teachers, contract amendments. I need to zoom in.
The amendments get you every time.
I know it. Contained errors. So the contract amendments contain errors and were not properly approved and signed, and district procedures for stipends are informal. So I'm not sure what that means, but it means that it's not adequate.
It did say something about the teachers, the wives getting approved.
Yes, I'm going to read that because that is very important. Because that's like,
that is very serious.
Yeah.
Serious.
Yes.
Serious situation.
So it says the school board does not review or approve non-tenured or administrative employee contracts. These employees' contracts are prepared and signed by the secretary to the school board. The secretary to the school board applies the board president electronic signature to the contract. It's a lot, guys. So the salary schedule for tenured teachers, and it goes in and it breaks that down. And it says, as a result, the school board approves compensation for tenured teachers through adoption to the district annual budget, and 3 board members approve. This is the important part we were just talking about. Okay? So pay attention.
Pay attention.
Yes. I know you're trying to zone out. This is a lot of reading. I get it.
It gets boring,
but pay attention.
There's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah, well.
I mean, there's a lot of bad stuff in there.
Interesting.
But a lot of interesting and learnable, teachable moments.
So this is a thing that an issue they had. Okay, so the salary scheduled for tenured teachers who do not have employment contracts, okay, they have that in parentheses, are not separately approved by the school board. As a result, the school board approves compensation of tenured teachers through adoption of the district's annual budget. And 3 board members approved compensation of relatives. See where this gets dicey? In this manner, the board president, Renshaw, approved compensation to his wife totaling $41,770 during the school year of 2012 and 2013. So that's just during this school year. And the board member, Keith, approved compensation to his wife totaling $35,280 during the 2012-2013 school year. And board member Reese approved compensation to her husband totaling $34,110. And to her sister-in-law totaling $42,160 during the 2012-2013 school year. To avoid the appearance of conflict of interest, the school board should reconsider the method used to approve tenured teachers' salary.
Yeah. Which our school board, when we were there, they did set out if they were related.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they didn't vote on things if they were related. That was something our school board did when we were there.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought I'd bring that up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a good point to bring up. Yeah.
Our school board did actually do that. So.
Well, I'm just saying that's where
that's some serious dicey stuff.
Yeah, that's some serious dicey stuff. This is where the dicey stuff gets serious. It gets,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'm not saying that they're doing anything wrong. I'm just saying.
No, that's some dicey stuff for sure.
Yeah, it's questionable.
And it should make everyone question some things.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't even think to question things, but like we didn't think to question things.
Yeah.
Until things were brought to our attention, and then we're like, oh, we got to question some things.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not that we want to question things. But here we are.
Here we are.
Diving down this rabbit hole.
Yes.
With you guys.
Yes. But see,
Take me along with us.
I mean, essentially, they may have done nothing wrong, but the way in which they done it was drawing question to their policy and
shady.
Yeah, the policy and procedures in which they did it wasn't brought attention to the auditor's mind, and that's why it's on this report.
Yeah.
So.
Gotcha.
Anyway. The secretary to the school board prepares contract amendments that are not always mathematically correct and are not signed by the employee.
Well, that's not good. Not mathematically correct.
And not signed by the employee.
Uh-huh.
And are not reviewed or signed by the board or the superintendent. For example, the superintendent's contract amendment for the 2012-2013 school year incorrectly reported total salary, stipends, and benefits of $116,643, but individual amounts reported the contract amendment totaled to $121,124. The actual amount the superintendent was compensated, resulting in a difference of $4,481 in overall compensation.
Oh, that wasn't accounted for.
Yes.
There's $4,000.
Yes.
Not accounted for.
The contract amendment was also not signed by the superintendent, employee, or a member of the school board.
Oh.
The employment contracts are typically amended annually for the upcoming school year. The contract amendment serves as the new employment contract after approval of the district budget in July of each year. The secretary of the school board prepares and mails or emails contract amendments to employees documenting their salary, stipends, and benefit amount for the upcoming year.
So they didn't sign it or nothing?
No. Okay, so it says a school year incorrectly reported total salary, stipends, and benefits. But individuals amounted reporting in the contract amendment, so they amended it, but it wasn't correct because there was a $4,000
difference.
Yes,
that he got,
and it wasn't signed by him or the school board.
Dang, that's a lot.
So it says the school board district has not established adequate policies and procedures regarding stipends. The district does not prepare extra duty contracts defining job duties. So this is important.
The job duties, the different hats.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
The different hats that all of them are wearing?
That just, everybody wears, I guess. The district does not prepare extra duty contracts, and we're in no way saying anything bad about, and we're just reading this report. Okay.
I just said all the different hats that everyone wears.
Yes. The district does not prepare extra duty contracts defining job duties or additional responsibilities performed for stipends. Hey, the school district paid approximately $127,000 in stipends to 75 district employees for those years. And for that year, that school year, 2013-2012, district personnel indicated stipends are paid for services rendered beyond the employee contractual obligations or normal job duties. So if you were a teacher, but you had your CDL, and so you were a bus driver, that would be something you were paid for.
Yeah. 2 different jobs?
Yeah. But I guess...
all the different hats?
But I guess they weren't adequately established. So there has not established an adequate policy and procedures regarding stipends.
So all the different hats. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes. Okay. So this next one talks about mileage. Additional compensation. The school district has no basis for the superintendent's mileage allowance. Has no basis for it. And did not always report extra compensation to employees or subject the payments to payroll tax withholdings as required.
Dang.
The district has not documented its basis for determining the superintendent's annual in-district mileage allowance totaling $1,500. And the payments were not reported as taxable income.
The mileage?
So, yeah, this $1,500 wasn't in his taxable income. Like, they didn't report it to the IRS. In his annual salary, right?
Good Lord. All kinds of indiscrepancies.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Using the district's current reimbursement rate of 40 cents per mile.
40 cents per mile. We've heard that number somewhere. Somewhere we've heard that number.
Somewhere. So, using the district's current reimbursement rate of 40 cents per mile, the mileage allowance paid represents 3,750 in-district mile per year. In addition to the in-district mileage allowance, the district reimbursement, the superintendent, the district, in addition? Did it say in addition? In addition to the mileage allowance of $1,500, they also reimbursed him, the superintendent, $1,968 for 4,922 miles driven outside of the district during the 2012-2013 school year.
So that's like $3,000 right there. That they didn't write down.
It wasn't taxable income.
Wasn't taxable income.
Yes.
They just paid them under the table.
So it says the IRS specifically requires expenses not accountable for the employer in district mileages to be considered as gross income and payroll taxes to be withheld from the undocumented payments.
Oh, so it's required.
Yeah, it's required. It's supposed to be in his income.
You're not supposed to pay him under the table.
Oh, well, I don't guess so.
We'll sweep that under that rug, too. Let's sweep it under that big old rug.
I don't know what's happening.
There's a lot happening in there. There's a lot.
The district allows the maintenance/bus mechanic to use a district vehicle to commute to and from work.
This was out. This report
Yes.
was out.
May 2014.
So it was out when we hired the superintendent.
Yes, ma'am.
Things that really make you question people's judgments of things. Because had I read this report, I don't know if I would trust someone that was in that leadership role. Not even the school board people. I don't think I would trust them in that leadership.
That's a fair assessment.
Role. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Did our people do their homework?
Did they not know?
Did they not do their homework?
I don't know.
Because who was evaluating when he got hired? Did they read this and just think, oh well, we'll see how it goes?
Or they didn't know about it until after the fact, maybe.
If they didn't know about it till after the fact, then they didn't do their homework.
Yeah.
On the person that they were hiring.
Yeah. But then they did know when they hired our middle school principal. And this is different school board members.
Some, yes.
Yes.
Some the same, but some different. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, they did know all about her.
Yes.
Yes, they did. And they still hired her. So.
Yes. So there is that.
So there is that, for sure.
Yeah.
But I believe there was 2 on the board that weren't there now. Weren't there when they hired her for principal.
Yeah, because there's 2 newer board members. Yeah. Okay, the stepladder program. If you're still with us.
Well, we've had some pop in and some leave, and some pop in and some leave. This is a long segment.
And we get it. We really do.
You may need to fast forward and watch it in clips once it's live.
Yeah. So the district has not established adequate policies and procedures for the stepladder program, which gives compensation to teachers who provide student services and assistance beyond the traditional teaching responsibilities. The district paid approximately $51,000 in stepladder payments to 43 teachers for the 2012-2013 school year. Okay, and then it goes to talk on why this is an issue, because the school board has not approved a stepladder plan in accordance with board policies prior to distributing stepladder payments. So they don't have a set guidelines
for their stepladder process.
Yes, and how I guess maybe they're getting paid. So it says the stepladder committee prepared and used a summary plan during an evaluation of stepladder applicants during that school year. However, we found no documentation this summary plan or other stepladder plans have been approved by the board for that school year.
Yeah, and that stepladder.
So they're saying they used a plan, but can't prove documentation they had the plan, or did use the plan, or that the plan was approved by the board. So the board policy also provides for the superintendent to revise the stepladder program plan when state funding for the program is cut or eliminated, and to be present the plan to the board for approval of state funding for the program has not been available since the 2010-2011 school year. This district has used local funding for the program in subsequent years. So I guess the funding originally came from the state, and when the state cut the program,
they raised funds for it so they could keep their stepladders?
They got the funds somewhere. Which I'm not saying it, I mean,
I think it's like if they stay over and help out at the school or whatever for
something
stepladders.
To do with hours, the hours accumulated or something. But, I mean, you just got to, I'm not saying it's a bad program, I'm just saying.
It's a great program, but you can also be threatened with it as well.
Well, you just got to document it and go by the policies in which you have,
in place.
In place, yeah.
Yeah, but like with this, like they didn't report anything, so.
Yeah. It says clear and consistent criteria, right, have not been established to evaluate how compensation under the stepladder program is earned. According to, so basically they can choose, I think this is the issue. They can choose
who gets it,
and who doesn't, and they
use it against you,
and they choose whom gets it and who doesn't, and there's no clear evaluation plan. So they're not evaluating everybody fairly, right?
Yeah, so they get to determine on who gets to keep it or who gets to lose it.
Yes. Which is an issue, right? Because I mean, you should be evaluated on the performance of your work.
Mm-hmm.
And if Cindy over here is closer to the superintendent, we're just using this as an example. If Cindy is closer to the superintendent, and
I'll
she
get
does
my stepladder, but you won't.
That's right, and she doesn't do any work, but I'm over here doing all the work.
You ain't getting your stepladder. I don't like you.
And they don't like me. They can choose to stepladder her up, give her some money, but I don't get no money.
That's right.
I mean, that's what it's saying.
Yeah.
It's saying they have no basis for evaluation.
Yeah.
There's no criteria.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get to choose whom they want to promote when they want, or
take away.
Yeah,
or
give a bonus to. So that's an issue. Yeah, I mean, I could see that's why that's in this audit report. According to the summary plan, prepared. I already read that. Never mind.
It's getting dark on us.
So it says written, clear, non-conflicting written guidance. The board cannot ensure money spent for the stepladder program were used efficiently, and participants are treated fairly.
We are definitely
and consistently. So, did you hear that? What we just said, basically. So the board cannot ensure money spent for the stepladder program are used efficiently, and participants are treated fairly and consistently. Guidance should include establishment of written plan and criteria for hours required, allowable activities, and performance standards.
That's exactly what we just said.
Yes.
They're saying that they can do what they want with it.
Yes.
They can give it to who they want, and they can take it away from whoever they want.
Yes. That is what they're saying. Then it goes on to recommend how they can fix that, and then it says how the school did fix it. And
I was going to say we're going to have to definitely make this a 2 parts.
Yes, probably, because I'm only on number 3.
Holy moly, how many is there?
Well, there's 3.
Oh, we're going to not be able to do all of these.
But I exited out a lot of them, only did, like, pertinent details.
We're already almost at 3 hours.
I told you this would be a long video. I mean, there is a lot in here. That, like, you know, number 5 is disbursement and the segregation of duties and approval process.
Skim through them.
How can ya? There's so much in here.
I think you should just link it. Maybe link what you got and kind of, because it's already highlighted and everything.
Yeah. I highlighted everything that I thought was
for you to read.
Important, right?
And so if she links what she has, and then you guys can just go and read the highlighted areas, because I think we have proved a point here. I mean, there was a lot already, and there's still a lot more.
Yeah, I was only on point
3. Holy moly.
And there are, let's just go down.
And we're almost at 3 hours in.
Yeah. And there is 9 points.
Yeah.
9.
So, you should really go and you should read that. She's going to link, I think we're going to have her link hers that's highlighted, because we're going to be here all night.
Yeah, well, there is that. Yeah.
But I think that we have proven that there is enough discrepancies there that you should really research into it. You should research into it yourself.
Yeah, so some of the points, so like, you know, that were interesting was the undefined job positions.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody wearing so many different hats and the pay wasn't recorded correctly, and
yeah, that's
interesting.
Interesting to say the least.
There's a lot of interesting points in that. I can't even remember them all, but
we know that there are people in our district that wear several hats, so
yeah. We're just saying, like, we're just 2 girls here asking questions, right? So we read the audit report because we thought it was important. We read the news article because we thought it was important.
But we also want to make a little bit of comparisons, right, to what happened in Ash Grove to where we're at now.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. Like where
following
we're at
in
now.
the wake of his leadership.
Yes, following in the wake of his leadership, for sure. I mean, there are some similarities.
Well, I mean, about the school, our attendance going down.
Yes.
Yes, that's one of the big...
About all the different positions
that he created. Yes.
About more than just him wearing multiple hats.
Yeah.
There are some comparisons here.
Yep.
And someone told us that he did wear those hats.
Yes.
So.
Well, yeah, someone commented in.
Yes.
And privately.
Yes, and said that, yes, he does wear all those hats.
Yes.
That Christensen does wear all those hats.
Yes.
But, again, it's very interesting because we can't find him on public pay.
Yeah. So we can't prove that. But
it doesn't show his name. The other people that wear hats, it does. Different hats.
Mm-hmm.
But
and it does say, like, when their base pay, and when you click into it, it does say
it shows what they
their
get.
extra pay.
But for him, he's not there.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And you should get paid for the extra jobs that you do.
Oh,
legally,
I'm not saying
taxably.
That you shouldn't get paid. I'm just saying, like, it's just interesting that he's not there when everybody else is. And even their extra things, even their extra hats are there.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, just things to think about.
Yep.
Comparisons between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So,
we're leaving that up to your discretion. We're just two girls asking questions. We thought it was important to read the audit report, so we read some of it to point 3, and there's 9 points. So there's a lot of good stuff in there, and of course it tells you how their recommendations and how Ash Grove School applied those recommendations and changed their policies and procedures and the way they did things to be more efficient and better move forward in the future.
It's got some good points in there.
Yes. Yeah, it does.
And some very teachable moments.
Yes. And so, I mean, you could clearly see Ash Grove was taking steps to make their school better and move forward. But anyways.
So, that's what we got to take away with all of this. I think that we laid it all out there for you. We really wanted you guys to know the facts in this case. And like we said, we'll just go ahead and link the thing in below because it was just too much.
Mm-hmm. Since we're already 3 hours in, almost.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to be a long episode.
Yeah.
But you know what? We said a lot of, we gave a lot of public knowledge, right? Public paperwork. We read that. And then we gave our thoughts and opinions and on the rest of it. And that's what it is, our thoughts and opinions. And you know, we're just, like I said, we're just here laying it out, asking questions, right? And saying, you know.
With that being said, I think that we will leave you guys, and we hope that you guys will dive into this and
do your own research.
Yeah, do your own research.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we'll stress for you to get involved and for you to contact our board members.
If you're concerned with some of this stuff,
If
right?
I hope you're concerned. I mean, at this point, I hope you're concerned to enough to get involved.
Yeah.
Enough to be worried and to reach out and to make sure that your parents' rights aren't taken away anymore. So.
Yep. So, you can email us at porchtalks0612@gmail.com.
You can message us on Facebook.
Yep. And we have a GoFundMe for the consolidation paperwork, and we will link that in the description, and we will link that in the comments on Facebook.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe on YouTube. We need 50 followers to go live, and we need some of y'all to jump over there, and so that our videos aren't getting deleted, because they are every 30 days off of Facebook.
Yes.
But they're not on YouTube, so they stay there. What we want you to know. We want you to know more about parents' rights. And there is a website for that. It is called parentsrightsandeducation.com. So go look it up. They have a lot of great information. They have an Apple podcast, and they have a YouTube channel where they do clips and inform you of your rights as a parent.
They also train you and teach you as well.
And they talk to you about different things that are happening in the education system all over the United States that they're involved in, that they're concerned about, and how they're helping parents to overcome those difficulties and informing them of their rights. So it is a very good website, and it is a very good good thing to get involved with, because you need to know your rights.
And if you can't find it, it's Susan Gallagher is the one that is doing it.
Yeah, the Apple podcast is called Parents Right Now.
There you go.
Rights Now.
Parents Rights Now.
Yes. Yep. So we are going to let you go.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. We thank you if you have stuck around this long. We appreciate you.
We know it was a lot.
Yes, we know it was a lot, and it was a lot of reading, and so...
but it was something that needed to happen because there was a lot of information on here that can make you stop and think and maybe do some comparisons yourself.
Well, we were concerned enough to do this about it. And we were concerned enough we started it the way we started it.
Well, and Miss Judy Lynn's letter that I read covered a lot of the points.
Yes.
In this even.
And in the audit even.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
In this audit.
Yes. Yeah.
So
to raise concerns, right?
Yeah, that's reading this, we had to go through this.
Yes, we had to go through the audit.
Because this backed up everything Judy Lynn was saying.
Yes, the reasons why she was concerned go hand in hand with the audit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow, and maybe we'll come to a porch near you.
Tomorrow?
Oh, not tomorrow.
No.
Next Wednesday.
Yeah.
We'll see you next Wednesday, and I think we'll probably be reading some opinions.
Oh, we will. On the opinions page. From the opinions page?
Probably.
I haven't got to read
County
them
News? Haven't got to read them yet, but we've been told to go over and look at the opinions at the opinion page.
So maybe you should check that out too. And so we might read those. We don't know. We'll see where God leads us.
Yep.
Yep.
But again, if you guys want to be involved, message us. If you guys want to come or tell your story or something that has happened to you in the past, let us know. We can come to your porch or you can come to ours.
That's right.
We're mobile. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.